Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
And it was wrong. It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
Bad call.
Some are good for fighting, others for dying.
It's Just Two Movies.
Welcome back to another episode of It's Just Two Movies. My name is Daniel King. That's what they call me. It's what they used to call me back in high school, too, because that's my name. And in the studio with me this evening,
yours
Dave.
Truly, Dave.
So, if you tune in regularly, you know that Dave and I normally tackle all the Marvel stuff, and we're still doing the Halloween special that we title The Ween, because we love a good dick joke. But with the Marvel special Halloween release or whatever of Werewolf by Night, we thought that would be a fun one to cover. You guys voted for it online, so that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So we chose to go with the Werewolf by Night and Man Thing,
2005,
which kind of correlate. Yeah, if this is if this is your first time tuning in and you don't already get it, we watch something that's good or renowned as good or somebody thinks it's good, and then we watch something that is panned pretty well universally, much like Man Thing from 2005. But we'll watch that and talk about that later. Right now, Werewolf by Night. Dave, anybody who doesn't know, spoiler free, what would you tell them it's about?
Spoiler free, Werewolf by Night is it's a black and white modern period piece that's about a monster hunter clan whose leader dies, so then they have a game to see who can kill the monster to get the family jewel that gives you power. That's the movie. That's
pretty spot on. It's kind of an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
A lesser Infinity Stone is kind of the prize. But Werewolf by Night is a PG-13 2022 film. I tried to watch it with my kid, but she's like, this is black and white. I'm fucking out of here. I don't want no part of this.
That's how I was watching it with my girlfriend.
She didn't want any part of it. Wait. Man, she really missed out, I think.
Yeah.
So it's got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know I didn't say the runtime, but it's about an hour.
Yeah, I think it's like 54 minutes.
Yeah, this came out October 7th of this year, obviously directed by Michael Giacchino. I'm going to go with Michael Giacchino. What do you think about that, Dave? You think that looks right?
That sounds good to me.
Michael Giacchino?
Oh, he goes by Michael G. Now I remember.
Mikey G. All right, yeah, directed by Mikey G. Obviously, that's for streaming on Disney Plus. One thing that I thought was interesting before we get into anything else, the director, he's more known for doing scores and sound design for stuff, and he did all the score for this. He also recently did all of the score for The Batman.
Oh, nice.
Is his last work prior to this.
Yeah.
So this is his directorial debut, I think.
Oh, really?
And I think this fucking turned out fantastic.
Yeah.
It stars. You like that shit?
Hanging out with all your Canadian friends too much.
Oh, it stores all kinds of things. Stars Laura Donnelly as Elsa Bloodstone, Gael Garcia Bernal as Jack Russell, Eugene Bondurant as Linda, Harriet Sansom Harris as Versa, Jacob Maya, Leonardo Nam, Daniel J. Watts, and Al Hampshire. Yeah, pretty limited cast here, and I'll be honest with you, as I'm looking at this, I'm not sure it's correct entirely. But that's what we're going to go with. That's what we're going to go with. We're just Googling shit. That's what it says on Google for now. So, Dave, did you before we get into it, full all spoilers all the way, without rating it, did you like it?
I did.
You did? I did too. I thought this was a good time. So I guess from here on out, we'll just go full tilt spoilers for this thing that's about an hour long.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of things that are going to go pretty deep. So if you haven't seen Werewolf by Night, you intend on watching it, now might be a pretty good time to bow out of this until you can watch it and come back. But, hour-long, super breezy, really fun. So, Dave, right up top, you liking the horror / werewolf claw intro?
Oh yeah, I really liked how they went from
They set the mood.
normal, right, and that's the first thing that I put down. Like even from the new Marvel special presentation banner, just how it had all the like rainbow colors and stuff, it just reminded me of something that was probably from the 70s or 80s. And then they cut into the normal MCU theme music and stuff when it's normal colored, and then it gets the werewolf slashes across and goes monochrome.
Well, the era that this is doing a hat tip to is like
30s and 40s,
the late 30s through the 50s.
Okay.
And wow, it is just I'm in love with the aesthetic of this. Like the way it harkens back to those old Universal classic horror films. Like those are.
Yeah, I felt that way even just with the fonts, like how they displayed the werewolf by night at first.
Well, like when I was a kid and I started getting interested in movies, if I were to look up old horror movies, that's what they were. They were either from the 70s or it was that. And now let me tell you what was more accessible. Universal Pictures presents The Creature from the Black Lagoon was way more accessible than, I don't know, a fucking Tourist Trap from 1973 or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely easier thing to get to. And I recall watching all these. I've seen The Invisible Man, Dracula, Swamp Thing, or not Swamp Thing, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I had already seen a number of those, and this is just puts you right back in that same seat of watching
I never really
those older
watched
things.
that many of the like black and white ones. The only one that really stood out to me was like King Kong, and just like, and that's what it made me felt like, even with just the font, like I was saying, of the title screen.
Oh yeah,
it just made me feel that way.
Yeah.
Then whenever I was looking into it, like they were homaging those like super hard throughout the film. But even just with like the Roman numerals underneath the title card and stuff is
absolutely, yeah. It's
classic.
all that very old world, creepy,
Right.
ooh, kind of stuff. So you've got why is everybody here? You got a bunch of people. They got weird beards, and they're all showing up for a thing at a fancy mansion. Well, Ulysses Bloodstone dies in this, and does he die though? I don't know.
Is he dead?
Well,
Who knows? You don't see it.
Well, yeah, you see like a corpse or whatever, but obviously it's very fake. I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah.
But in the comics, like, and this is why I say I have a lot of spoilers for this. I knew the backstory for a couple of these characters, and I looked it up for the rest. But Ulysses Bloodstone, technically he's immortal. He was like a caveman, and he got a bit of the bloodstone like embedded in his chest.
Yeah.
And it killed his entire tribe of other cavemen, but he's immortal. So why would he have finally died if he was like a fucking caveman?
The only thing is, is that this is different, Daniel.
That's true. It is a work of fiction, but
so...
he's the prankster type.
They
you
use
know what
that
I mean?
as source material, but it's not the same.
Well, he's the prankster type, and they even kind of pay homage to that by being like, "Oh, here's his skeleton making a joke or whatever."
Like the animatronic looking skeleton.
But he could just not be dead at all.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing could have been a setup for a totally different thing.
Yeah, I thought that throughout the movie as well.
Could have been a trap to lure out the werewolf by night by trapping the man thing. We'll get to it. Could have been though.
Could have been.
If they're gonna do another one, that's exactly what happened. I fucking guarantee it.
Are you gonna do a rundown of the movie?
Yeah, we'll do a quick one, and then I just want to talk about some things chronologically, I guess. But to wrap up about Ulysses Bloodstone, so canon in really fucking old comics, he just isn't dead or doesn't die, and this is before comic books are really concerned about continuity and more about like how fantastic can the story be.
Yeah.
It was a different era of making the art for sure. But I like the bit where they're like, "Oh, he's dead," and fucking, isn't that terrible? But let me run through the like Dave suggested, especially because it's so short. I'll tell you what happens through the whole movie, and then we'll go back and go deeper on some stuff. You have a gentleman, his name is Jack. He shows up at this thing with all these other hunters. They're going to have a contest in a very Harry Potter maze, and whoever kills the monster first, but you're also allowed to kill your competition. So you can just go out and murder a couple of people, and then instead of it being 1v6, it's 1v3 sort of thing. Increase your odds, so to speak. And that's okay. The monster that they're hunting is Man-Thing, who is a sentient being. His name is Ted, and he's friends with Jack, Werewolf by Night, who has entered this competition in an effort to save him from this weird situation he's got himself caught up in. They're about to blow the joint. Some circumstances happen. Jack is captured and then subjected to the Bloodstone, turning into a werewolf, and then making a fantastical escape. That's what happens, really, in the entirety of the movie. So let's just talk about the stuff that we were fucking into. What do you got over there, Dave?
Well, right off the bat, when they're doing they set up this movie, since it is just so, well, is it a film? Short film?
It's a special.
Well, I just really like how they did it. They just narrated the first little part, so you didn't have to see. Well, I mean, kind of like what you're alluding to, Bloodstone might not be dead, but they didn't have to show all that. They just did a quick narration of the backstory and stuff. But over or under that narration, they were flipping through what seemed like
Love the narrator.
a creature book, or like how
Loved
they're
it.
doing that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Did you like pay attention at the beginning? Because a lot of that stuff, like, people don't pay attention to. You'll be more focusing on the narration.
No, hell yeah, I'm soaking it all in. I like when they're standing there having the chat. You actually see it a couple of times. I think in two different scenes. You see the imagery on the wall in the background where it's got Thor slaying Gore the God Butcher.
I didn't see that.
But it's like ripped right from the pages of the comic rather than the MCU.
Oh, nice.
So the way it's going, like, it is an image of the thing from the comic, but it doesn't say what it is or anything like that. But it's not MCU accurate because Thor slaying the God Butcher technically kind of happened.
Yeah, but
it's not an image of that. It's a different
when
thing
it
entirely.
was there, that wouldn't have been known. Like, they wouldn't have put that on the wall if it just happened last week.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But
I might sneeze.
Here she comes. Oh
no,
you lost it.
I lost it, man.
Damn it. What did you think of that first creature they showed that looked? I mean, I kind of thought it looked like a cool vampire, but it could be like a goblin thing or something.
I'm so into all the cool, like, Easter egg monsters and shit in this. All the weird heads on the wall.
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about, right?
Well, no, I was talking about at the very beginning when they were kind of flipping through the book, but it was showing those creatures. Those same creatures were dead, where the head mounted on the wall
exactly.
too. Yeah,
so there's there's a Sasquatch looking thing. There's
on the tag I stopped. It says Bigfoot. Like, it says Sasquatch, and then it says Bigfoot.
Yeah, so there's a Sasquatch and a Bigfoot. Evidently, there's a Wendigo. But I didn't know which one the Wendigo is. It's like a forest spirit that compels you to be a cannibal. And then after you eat human flesh, you turn into a Wendigo.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that or catch that.
That's what it is in lore, but everywhere else it's like
is.
it's got a skull for a face and giant fucking antlers, and I didn't see it,
Huh.
but it was like
credited in there?
Yeah, it was like one of the things is definitely a Wendigo, I think, is mostly what I'm seeing online, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. But I love the multiple takes on vampires. Because that tells you, because in the Marvel comic universe, vampires have gone through a lot of fucking changes. Like, Morbius is not technically a vampire.
Yeah,
Blade is not technically a vampire. Most of the vampires that Blade kills also not, like, they're like vampires that can look like people. They're vampires that are only fucking monsters. Vampires that are like more Batman. Not more Batman.
But man-bats?
They're more man-bats than they are men or bats.
I get you.
Yeah, so
and that's what this one kind of looked like, was more like a man-bat.
Exactly, like a man-bat fucking monster thing. And
I really liked
man.
how it looked. And that two-headed sea creature, did you notice that one?
I did see that thing. It was supposed to be a siren.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think
I've never seen them depicted as multiple-headed, though.
Me neither. Which I thought was super cool.
Yeah, it was neat. Yeah, and then that narration at the beginning, I thought...
I'm to piggyback off that last thing. I am excited to see how they're going to handle the vampires in Blade. knowing that now there are multiple versions MCU canon.
Right.
You know, like there are in the comic books, they're just different types.
Or even the newest one was She-Hulk. Didn't you watch he was in the support group.
The vampire?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. So he
So,
would be
like-
one of the, like, Nosferatu type.
Well, they were kind of trolling him like he thinks he's a vampire.
Right,
Because,
yeah. But he's
I
just
guess-
a regular-ass dude.
Right.
I love it. So, Elsa Bloodstone, what'd you think about the daughter of Ulysses Bloodstone? What are we thinking about him? Her.
As far as a character, I mean, I liked it. I liked her as an actor. I don't know. She kind of looked familiar, but I didn't recognize her.
She's putting off those Jessica Jones vibes.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch any of that?
No.
You know what it is, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's putting off that vibe. I don't know what it is.
I think Jessica Jones is like the only one from the Netflix
it's good. It's good.
ones that aren't really coming back, I think.
Oh, man, it's good, though. Like, if you watch the first season of that Netflix run, you're like, shit, this is pretty good. Yeah, not bad. No, I really liked her, but it turns out Elsa Bloodstone and her father were estranged. She didn't get... her stepmom's like, you didn't finish your training. She's like, I didn't finish my training with
By
him. I finished my own training. I took karate at the YMCA.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
I
watched
thought that
some
was
YouTube
neat.
videos about a guy who's like, let me show you how to do that thing, like Black Widow.
Yeah, since she didn't train with him, they didn't have her kill count. So, like, when they were going around the room, you know, boasting everybody's kill count,
Oh, yeah.
they don't know hers. So, yeah, I just wonder how
And
badass of a hunter she is
And
now.
I was curious because, like, Jack, his name's Jack Russell, is Werewolf by Night, his name. Just like the terrier, although at the time that they created the character, the creator, later, they were like, hey, do you know that, like, a Jack Russell Terrier? And he's like, what's that? And they're like, it's a breed of dog. And he's like, that was totally not deliberate. So that's a fun fact. But anyway, Jack Russell, he, you know, you have him and they're like, oh, he's got over 100 confirmed kills, and everybody in the room, all these different people with different various beards, they look at him and they're like, oh, nice. Fucking nice, bro. And I wonder if he really did, or like,
yeah, I wonder that as well.
Werewolf by Night, is he a monster hunter? Or
Yeah, because it definitely seemed like throughout the film, every time he spoke of it, Jack wasn't a killer. So it would have had to be the werewolf form of him, to where, and then also he said that he locked himself in once a month to
Now-
keep him from killing.
Now, here's some stuff that I've got about that. So, as far as the comics are concerned, Jack Russell, through all of his appearances in the comic books, he goes through different situations where his transformation becomes more and less extreme. There is a variation on the comic books where he becomes way more like he turns into a werewolf anytime he can touch the moonlight. Anytime. But when it's a full moon, he goes straight
got
fucking
full power.
lupine, arched back, just fucking giant monster. And he has no control over himself in that particular form. But in his other, like, lesser lupine form, he has some, you know, he can still, he knows who he is. He has a self-awareness.
Yeah, I noticed there was a lot of Latin in this movie. So if you're a fan of Latin, you probably love this movie. You get a lot of extra Easter eggs most people wouldn't notice.
Yeah, there's some pretty good stuff in there.
Yeah, I also thought...
Well, it's always like, oh, that word derived from the Latin.
Right.
And then you actually see the Latin word and you're like, there it is. Very nice.
But I thought this movie was interesting in the fact that it was kind of doing... Because with Jack's character, he's struggling between worlds. He's struggling between the monster hunter and the monster.
He seems so nice.
Yeah, I really like him as an actor.
Yeah,
like he
me too. It just he's got a goofy ass grin. He just looks very genuine. I like him as Jack Russell.
Yeah, and when they're walking through the foyer into like the main sitting room where they're all talking about their kills and shit, whenever he's first walking in, like if you notice, there's like all the like art and stuff depicted on the walls and stuff, and
Yeah.
on the left side, it was all the like hunters killing the monsters. and then on the right side was where the werewolf was the werewolf killing the people. So it was kind of showing that on each side of the frame
Oh,
of
that's
the
cool. I didn't
people
catch
versus
that.
monsters, and then the
And then
separation between, and
Oh,
he's right in between.
That's fucking cool. So there is. I'll come to it later. I don't want to spoil what I was getting at.
I feel like the black and white, they did it so well. It's crazy that you said this is that guy's first fucking directorial debut, but he
Nailed
did
it.
so well with like just the lighting, like
you catch the burn marks where they put the tape together up in the corner. God, I haven't seen one of those in a movie in a long ass time.
Yeah, they did it. It stood out like really
A little more pronounced.
Yeah,
on purpose, I'm sure.
But
they wanted you to notice it.
Wanted
it didn't
you to
want to be a
kinda-
hidden detail. It wanted to be a feature.
Right. And with it being black and white, and since I've never really watched movies like that, or maybe it just wasn't really done back then either, they were just able to do the contrast between what the light is coming from and the dark of the frame or of the scene, and it just looks so cool. Like it's
very, very crispy.
Yeah, if it was in color, it would take it away from it.
You can tell it's still shot in digital.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's
like a
sharp,
filter over it.
It's
yeah.
a sharp image. It looks nice. But yeah, it does have that. It has that very rustic quality about it. I think regardless of the black and white, I think maybe it has to do with like soft lighting might make it look a little more like that.
Yeah, I can see that. How'd you feel about them making the bloodstone glow red?
I loved it. I love the one red. Like that was the only accent through the whole movie is the red. Here's what I really am fucking as a movie nerd. Here's what really made me horny was all the lightning, like a lightning and electricity effects.
Yeah.
Like it looked perfect. It looked just like what I wanted. Like those effects is part of what made it feel like such an old movie. Like there's a bit much later in the film where she's using the old lady's using the bloodstone to push back Jack Russell as the werewolf, and that looks very
modern
MCU modern
yeah.
CGI. You know what I mean? And that part almost took me out of it. I kind of wanted something a little cheesier right there. Cheesy's the wrong word. I wanted something more practical, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of fans and a fucking airbag or something. I don't fucking know. Yeah, I'm fucking loving everything about this. So they go on the hunt, right? And Jack happens to get the luck of the draw, first person to go. Now, the underlying theme about this hunt is that you are not only permitted but encouraged to kill your teammates. Because the monster has the bloodstone planted on it, which will weaken it, but it will also piss it off. And what's the monster? It's Man-Thing.
The monster's Man-Thing?
The monster's Man-Thing. Huge spoiler that's not really that spoilery because it was in a bunch of clips and shit. But you might have missed all those. Did you know it was Man-Thing, or were you like, what the fuck?
No, I knew. Just I got spoiled.
Nah.
Yeah. Thumbnails.
Hard to miss them. Yeah, hard to miss them. I'm going to spoil it for somebody out there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be on the thumbnail.
Probably with the thumbnail, yeah. I really like the actor that plays Jack, though, so I might try to get that as a thumbnail one more time. That is Gael Garcia Bernal.
Ooh.
Yeah. I assume that's Gael. Gael. Gamma Alpha Echo Lima.
Your guess is good as mine.
Or Gail. I guess it could be Gail. Gael Garcia? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought he was fantastic, man. I really liked him in this. I really liked the gal that played Elsa Bloodstone. I thought they were fantastic.
I thought she was great too.
They had their little kind of semi-romantic moment where they were captured in that fucking tomb or whatever.
The red accent that they like put out throughout the movie at some points, it kind of made me think back to WandaVision and how like whenever Wanda was doing the hex, everything was in black and white at first. But then stuff started breaking through and it was red too.
Well, that's the thing that made me wonder, because Ulysses Bloodstone is dead. So as far as MCU... Allegedly. So as far as MCU canon is concerned, well, if they got the Bloodstone out of his chest, probably. Now that I think
But I don't think it was necessarily embedded in...
I think it was embedded in his. Originally, it
No,
was
I mean,
embedded
in
his
this
chest.
movie, they said that?
No.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the way
they-
it could
they-
have just been that pennant.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. And they could have killed him, and maybe the Bloodstone in the MCU is going to be that actress, which
Well,
would be fantastic.
And when the stepmom was talking about the Bloodstone and was wondering why the daughter came back for it.
Laura Donnelly plays Elsa Bloodstone
okay.
again.
But the stepmother said, like, oh, what are you after? Are you after the power or the longevity? So
Harriet.
maybe it just gives you not eternal life, but, like longer life.
Yeah, and that the stepmom played by Harriet Sansom Harris, and she was fantastic.
Yeah, she's
Like,
creepy.
When she's like doing her cackle and shit, I
Yeah.
was like, oh my
Yeah, I
god,
like the
this
face
lady's
paint.
point on.
On her and on Jack. And like
Yeah.
how Jack refers to us for his
Oh, yeah.
ancestors.
That guy's like, oi, I like your fucking face paint, didn't it? And he's like, I do it to honor my ancestors. And he's like, Well, like later when he has a run-in with Elsa Bloodstone, that guy with the beard and the axe, I really like him. He's fun.
Yeah.
It's too bad he's dead. So him and Elsa Bloodstone run into each other, and he's like, "Death's a coming for you, lassie."
Yeah.
I fucking loved it, man. I was like, "Look at this guy, dude, just going to 11 and fucking nailing it."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's when one of those burn marks popped up.
Yeah, exactly. So you
Yeah.
get during that bit, Man Thing, it pops out of a hedge or whatever, and he's like, Man Thing, I'm gonna get you. And he grabs him by the head. And all right, before watching this movie, I gotta be honest, I only knew like 2 things about Man Thing.
I didn't know anything other than kind of what he looked like.
But one thing, I'm going to save everything I know about Man Thing for the second half of this podcast. But everything that I know about Man Thing is, I know what his power or whatever is. I know that anyone who knows fear burns at the touch of the Man Thing. That's his whole deal.
That's the thing.
He just fucking will touch you, and if you have like ill intent or fear in your heart, you'll just burn.
Burn, baby, burn.
Burn, baby, burn. Almost like a penance stare from fucking Ghost Rider sort of thing. Like if you're shitty, you're gonna die.
You're dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
And if you're not shitty, he'll just give you a little squeeze.
The burning of the people looked sweet, though.
Oh my god. I don't know what it would look like in color, but it looks fucking amazing in black and white.
I wonder if they'll release it in color to reach a larger audience.
I don't think so. I wouldn't.
Like,
if I made this or had a hand in
actually
making
thinking
it,
about
and
it-
anybody asked me and they're like, "Can we re-release this in Technicolor?" I would go, "No."
Did you see one of the main reasons why they did it?
Why?
Mono? Can you take a guess? It's more of a practical thing, but you got a guess for it of why they would do it?
I don't know why.
It's for the rating, for the red blood. That's why they made it.
That makes
it did feel more
that
gruesome
actually-
and more dark, and
that
yeah,
actually-
it makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because even watching this, I was like, "Man, this is pretty gruesome for a Marvel flick." You know
Right.
what I mean? Which I would like for them to do more of this horror side
yeah,
of it.
for sure.
Make there was a comic book run called The Midnight Suns, and it was fucking Morbius, Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, give me a second. Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein's monster, yup. And oh god, there was 1 or 2 more, I just can't remember them. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Was Ghost Rider in that?
Yeah, Ghost Rider was one of them. Yes, thank you. And then there was another one I can't recall. Maybe The Living Mummy.
Brendan Fraser?
Might have been The Living Mummy Brendan Fraser in the comic books, yeah. But anyway, that Midnight Suns, make that fucking horror. Make that bloody and fucking disgusting and dark in this weird fucking underworld. And those 2 things don't ever have to meet.
Yeah.
They don't ever have to.
Right.
They can just run parallel forever, and it
For
wouldn't
sure.
fucking matter. But you could have those 2 things. You can have like the fucking R-rated, like gringier, fucking grittier ordeal. One thing about the comic books that I also did want to mention in regards to Werewolf by Night is that Jack Russell, in his werewolf form, has the fastest canon Marvel comic regenerative power.
Oh,
ever.
really?
Yeah. He once regrew his head in a matter of minutes after it was blown off by Deadpool, canon in the comics. So that is like,
Strange.
that's faster than Wolverine. That's faster than because Deadpool's takes hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
He's got baby legs for a little bit.
yeah, he's got those little baby legs. God, those movies are so fucking stupid. Are you pumped for Deadpool 3?
Oh, yeah.
This is way off topic.
Yeah, too
Pumped
bad
for
it
Deadpool
got
3?
pushed back.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that one actually didn't get pushed back far, did it?
I don't care. I would just rather it be really good. So
yeah. Oh.
take an extra.
Over
I'll wait
everything.
another year. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm busy anyway. I got shit going on.
I got
so
other shit doing.
right. So we're werewolfing. They're getting out. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about. What do you think about the actual werewolf transformation?
I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah. You hated it?
No, I didn't hate it.
Oh, I loved it.
I'm just making sure you loved it.
No, I just thought, especially after seeing how, because like how Man Thing was just like completely CGI, I didn't know how they were going to do the werewolf. I didn't know how I didn't know if it was going to come out like Morbius.
Okay,
or
so
if they were going to do more practical effects.
not talking about the end result. I'm talking about the legit transformation. just
Yeah,
so
but
we're on
that's
the same
what.
page.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. To where
They left the mystique in there. You know what I mean? Could Marvel pull off just like pointing the camera right at his face while he turns into a werewolf? Absolutely, absolutely. It's Marvel, but I like the artistic choice to do it in like shadows and short shots and all that shit. I think the payoff was better.
Yeah, but no, like I was saying, they just since they didn't actually show like the full body transformation, it was just a lot more like kind of like you're saying, if they did a close up of him going from normal self to having his practical effects on him, they would have had to CGI probably or kind of smooth it out some way to where it wouldn't have looked as good. Yeah, in this shot they did it to where the daughter was in the cell with him, and he told her to not break any eye contact with me, and that's how he's going to try to remember her whenever he's in his werewolf form.
He's sniffing on her.
So
she's
the
like,
scene,
does this work? And he's like, worked once.
yeah. I wonder if that was for Man Thing,
I don't know.
and that's why they're in love.
Could have been. Well, at the end, oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but in the end, when Man Thing's like, which way did he go? He doesn't say that, but and
That's
she's
what
like,
he
he
says.
went that way, and Man Thing shrugs it, and he walks off, and then he wakes up. Jack Russell wakes up the following day, and he's not a werewolf anymore. That means they're buddies when he is a werewolf. Or did Man Thing just find him later? I guess you really don't know, but I assume they're friends both ways.
Yeah, but if he is in his, like you were saying, his full form, he might just be, they might just be fighting each other.
Yeah, I don't know. No way
unless
to know.
he notices. But like that scene, it just cuts to her, and she's just keeping eye contact with her, so she's just frightened. But the way they set it up, she has to keep looking at him. But then the strobe light from the bloodstone, like trying to transform him, is what is actually giving the shadow of him transforming behind her.
And it looks good.
And it looks great. And they did that as just one long shot.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking really cool. I like that. I'm always curious about, like, I guess I've never been curious enough to look into like a fucking 3 or 4 hour or multiple hour long, like, oh, how it's made. How do they make movies? But I would say I have always just kind of been generally interested in it. I'm like, man, that bit, how'd you do that? That's fucking amazing. Like, it's just like, wow. You know?
It's kind of like the, I forget what they call, it's the zoom pan shot, but like they did it in Werewolf by Night to where, they're panning backwards, but zooming into their face. So it looks like the background, or it almost looks like they're floating forward.
And the background's getting further away.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to,
it just looks cool, and that's just a technical shot that you can do.
And that's another technical shot that's an homage to those like older films from the 30s and 40s. 30s and 40s and 50s, I guess. They made them for quite some time. Fucking, I'm loving this.
Yeah, and once he transformed, that scene of him just fucking murdering everybody is just
Pretty
so
good.
Yeah.
Pretty
and I really
good.
liked how they had the, like, I don't know if somebody sounded an alarm or whatever, but the door was just slowly closing, letting you know that he could run away if he wanted, but no, he's in it for the
killing
bloodlust.
everybody in the room. Yeah, it is. He's blood drunk. Because he could easily escape, but he just doesn't. You see the light going down. Man, it's a really fucking great shot. I'm loving that. I'm loving all that shit. I'm loving the weird masks when they come in to turn him into a werewolf when he's in that cage.
Oh yeah,
That's a cool bit.
Yeah.
Like I like the
makes
eye
it seem
makeup
very
on
culty.
the old lady. Exactly. Yeah, you got some
Yeah.
cool culty stuff in there. So he escapes, and you get a little more man. She's like beating his ass with the bloodstone or whatever, and then Elsa, she's got a chain. And she's like, "Get over here."
Rips it off Thing's back.
Yeah, she's doing a scorpion bit, and she takes it off of Mom, and she fucking pulls her down to the ground. Mom gets up. She's like, "You let him get away." And then you let him get away, and then fucking Ted just drops in from the ceiling and grabs her and burns the shit out of her. Again, that effect looks awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if it looked exactly the same in the MCU. If it just burned you in black and white.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be fucking dope. That would look so cool. It looks great. Would it look brilliant with color? Absolutely. But I guess you would have to make it. What color would you make?
I feel like it probably looks more realistic in black and white.
I'm loving it, dude.
Yeah.
I like seriously that effect of him burning them with the man thing grab, or I don't know what you call it, the man thing touch.
Yeah.
It looks incredible. The price of admission to watch this whole thing is to watch the 5 minutes with Man Thing in it. And it's crazy because there's a lot of, as one of these old horror movies, you don't get a shit ton of your bad guy, your monster per se. And that's exactly the way they played Man Thing in this, because he is the monster. Although there's also the werewolf, you get even less of that. For it being called Werewolf by Night, very little werewolf shit in it.
Yeah.
It's 95% Jack Russell, if anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I was surprised with how much Man Thing was in it, because I was expecting less. But I feel like he popped in probably, before the halfway point or right around halfway.
I like the bit towards the end where the butler comes up and he's like, "I only wanted to make myself available for you, Miss Elsa." And she's like, "Great, you can start by cleaning all this shit up." Because there's just dead bodies and broken shit everywhere.
Perfect. Clean this shit up.
She sits down, fucking throws on Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and then slowly all the color fades back in.
That's when you get the
which is reminiscent of another movie. I can't remember what movie it is.
When the color comes back?
Yeah, it's
or
fucking,
the Over the Rainbow.
It's Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz.
She's got that red coat on. In my mind the whole time I was like, that's a tan coat.
Right, yeah.
And then the color fades back in and it's red. I'm like, oh, holy shit.
That's another red thing linking her to the red bloodstone.
Right. Because
Do you think it's
bloodstone.
chaos magic? Do you think it's the same type of magic as Wanda and the...
Certainly could be. That would explain monsters.
Yeah, definitely seen, chaos monsters.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. So that could be a cool MCU tie-in. I really, really, really hope we get more of this stuff.
Oh, I think it's for sure.
I don't even really want the next thing. Whatever movie you were about to release, just put that on pause. Give me another one of these. It can even be this special. I don't mind this hour-long format. It's
for sure.
actually preferable to me. I would rather have one of these twice a year from a property that I liked rather than 3 series from things I don't really care about all that much.
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch them to stay in the continuity because it's
I feel like the
but
next few are coming out should be pretty good. I'm pretty excited for Ant-Man, the new one. But I think Black Panther's next.
That is true. I saw some sneak peek art design. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe they'll rework it before the film comes out. But I saw some sneak peek art reveal of MODOK.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not crazy about it. Like,
was it just
I hate it.
Actual art, or was it
I think it's a design for the movie. And I hope it's something that they were like, no. Like, I want MODOK to look ridiculous. I want him to have that dumb bowl cut.
Was it just a person? It was just like a guy standing there.
No, it's like a little robot-looking
MODOK.
guy. He has the same shape, but he's like a robot. I want him to just be a little fucking crazy-looking dude. go there. Go the extra mile and make him fucking insane looking. You've got aliens anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those big tentacle monsters. Peter Quill had sex with one. You know what I'm talking about.
Right, yeah, you know those. What'd you think about all the medieval weaponry in the movie?
Loved it.
Yeah, I really
Loved it. I'm a
too.
big fan of spears and little tiny crossbows.
That.
Dude, when she cuts that guy's arm off,
Oh yeah, I was
and
gonna
then
say
takes
that axe
then takes
is
his little
sweet.
it takes his little forearm fucking crossbow in his severed
With
arm and
his
shoots him
arm.
in the face
Yeah.
with it. I was like, God, oh, that's brutal.
That's brutal for Disney.
Yeah, it was brutal for Disney. Like he's gurgling blood and
Oh
shit
right, and
coming
she
out of his
rolls
mouth.
into the bush and has to cover his gurgling mouth so the other
Yeah.
guy doesn't hear.
I would genuinely think if you've got kids that are 10 to 13 and you could get them to watch this, I think they'd enjoy it, but they would really try to tune it out in the first 10 minutes.
I feel like once I got into it, like I didn't even realize it was black and white.
Dude, I was into
Or,
it immediately. I knew it was black and white before I ever turned it on.
I didn't, just because some thumbnails were from the post credits where it was
Already color.
already colored.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, when that color comes back, I'm liking Man-Thing in color too.
Yeah, like how
He
they
looks
gave him
good.
the sunflower accent, like as if it was behind his ear or something.
Oh yeah,
Instead
yeah.
of the sunflower
He
on
looks
him.
really. He's made Jack a little cup of coffee. What a sweetie pie, old Ted.
Oh, you
Old-
shouldn't have.
Good old Ted. But how many bloodstone thumbs would you give it out of 10, Dave? For Marvel special series is.
I had pretty tough time thinking about this. I kind of went back and forth. I felt like I was a little harsh on it at first with my rating, but I mean, for what it was, it's amazing. I feel like it's great. But I'm gonna go with a solid 8.2.
Ooh.
I don't think I've really given anything 8s.
8.2, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
giving it 8.5. Like, I really had fun with this, and I would love more of this.
Yeah.
Like, I really like the black and white thing. I think it was charming. Do I think you need to do more stuff in black and white? No. No, I think this is fine on its own accord. Would I like to see these characters back in another feature? Absolutely. I would love more adventures of Jack Terrier, Werewolf by Night, and Man Thing.
Do you think
Uh,
they're gonna give a whether it's dialogue or whatever, but do you think they're gonna give a reason to the black and whiteness, or like why her getting the bloodstone changed it? Like
Could
if it was
be
a
a-
perception change,
Could be
or...
a chaos magic spell. Like you said, exactly like in fucking WandaVision. How the first couple episodes
Yeah, but
are
do
in
you think
black
they're
and white.
gonna? Do you think they're just gonna leave it as like a black and white, like just period piece, or do you think they'll write in like kind of a definitive reason of why it was black and white?
I think at some point somebody will allude to something vague enough to be like, oh yeah, that fucking tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, whether
I don't know.
yeah,
Ultimately,
that could be something with the chaos magic being unstable or something, so it is taking. Yeah, I'm not sure. I would hope so.
That's a really good theory, though. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see that play out at all. That's pretty sound, actually. Yeah. So I that's all I've got on Werewolf by Night. Fucking really enjoyed it, but enjoyed it a lot more than I
Go
thought
check
I
it
would.
out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, check it out. Save it for
I
Halloween.
didn't realize it was going to be a short either, or like shorter. I was sitting down for an hour 45 minutes, so then
Man.
I clicked and seen that was 50 something. Noise.
I kind of wished it would. I feel like you could have got another 20 minutes, but I'm not mad at the length that it was. I feel like it was just really appropriate. It was really
Right.
well paced. It gave me
Yeah.
everything I wanted. I liked it a lot, man.
I feel like if they added time to it, they would have not needed to add any time within the constraints that the movie was already in. Maybe add a
Right.
little prequel with Ulysses or a little bit more to the ending.
yeah, I wouldn't have minded a little bit of prequel to Ulysses because
Yeah.
I looked that up after the fact. I've never
Mhm.
read or even seen a fucking comic book with a Ulysses Bloodstone in it.
Yeah.
I knew he existed, but I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting to read up on that. I knew a little bit about Jack Russell, but not very much at all. I just knew that he was the werewolf by night, and I knew that he was just a fucking
Yeah, then
I knew that he was. I had read the Deadpool issue where he gets his fucking head blown off and regrows it in like minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wouldn't have thought of him to be a regenerative being.
Yeah, that's
let
like
alone
that,
a hyper regenerative one.
Yeah, that's one of his biggest things. So I think
Are most werewolves like that?
Are what?
Most werewolves in lore like that?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Normally, like, you cut a werewolf, and then the next day, while you're walking through town, you look at everybody and see who's got a similar injury.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's normally how you suss one out, but no, not him. They just wake up without a scratch on him every time.
Maybe that's why they wrote that in there, because that's how they used to get sussed out.
It could have been. Could have been. No way to know. I'll tell you what I'm going to know, though, is I'm going to know more about Man-Thing from 2005. So we're going to go watch that for better or for worse. And we'll be back shortly. Here's a little heavy metal interlude, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk about Man-Thing from 2005. Choo-choo.
We're gonna get up in it, boy.
All right, Man-Thing. Let's talk about it.
All right,
we think about Man-Thing.
He was a little less manny, a little more thingy.
He was a little more thingy than he was manny, that's for sure. It's the spookiest time of the year, and I'm not just talking about tax season. So Man-Thing, we're talking 2005 Man-Thing, baby, in case you were wondering what sort of Man-Thing. It's rated R, horror sci-fi, hour 46-minute runtime. That's not right. It's more like hour 28?
Hour 35, maybe?
Hour 35, maybe?
Yeah, probably 28 without the credits.
It was shorter. We just noticed. See, it's got a 4 out of 10 on IMDb, 17 on Rotten Tomatoes, 48% on Just Watch, 38% of Google users were like, it's not bad, you know? I liked it. Initial release, April 21st, 2005, directed by Brett Leonard. Box office, 1.1 mil. Dave, did you pull up the budget for that?
Yep. Estimated upwards of $7.5 million.
Oof. That's a hard hit.
Yeah.
That's a hard hit for a little IP. Let's see here. It is based on Man-Thing by Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, Gray Morrow, and Jerry Conway. This stars Brett Leonard, Jack Thompson, Matthew Leneves, Rachel Taylor, Imogene Bailey, Conan Stevens, and Alex O'Loughlin. I don't care about most of the cast. I will say Steve Bastoni is also in it. He's the guy that's always in the swamp, and he's like, "Shh, you're gonna die." You know which guy I'm talking about? The bald guy.
Oh yeah,
the bald guy that's always got a huge knife, and he's like, "It's the fucking swamp, mate."
He was probably the only one that I kind of cared about.
This is supposed to be Louisiana, maybe Florida. And we were 5 minutes into this, and I'm like, nobody in this is American. And everybody's doing a weird fucking Louisiana type accent, and it's not quite there. It's just noticeable.
Consistent.
It's just noticeable enough where you're like, something's off here. And I looked it up, and literally everybody, and it was in Australia, and it was filmed in Sydney. So that's not very Man-Thingy. What would you say? What would you say old Man-Thing is about?
It's a movie about things and man.
At least one of them's a man.
Yeah, I would say there was I don't know if it was a nature reserve or what, but the one native guy was pissed, but they ended up putting an oil well on his land. And the guy who did it actually killed one of the guys and buried him under it.
They were loving that prop. That was in a lot.
Oh yeah,
that was in a lot of the movie.
They're very proud of the oil rig that they
loved
built.
it. It wasn't. It's weird because like some of the shots, it looks like it's fucking humongous. And then some of them, like when they're standing right up next to it, you're like, oh, it's like 10 feet tall, not not 35 feet tall. I don't know. It's just a weird comparison for that, but
Yeah, so this
it's very
oil
steampunky.
Yeah, this oil tycoon comes into town, just fucking desecrates the land, and that's why Man-Thing has to get his revenge. Once he's killed, he said he is freed. And I guess that's when he gets his powers.
Yeah, so, like I said, the one thing I know about Man-Thing is that all who know fear burn at the touch of the Man-Thing. He didn't burn anybody.
I didn't see him burn anybody.
In this whole movie. He didn't burn anybody. He like tore a man apart. You remember that bit?
Yeah.
When he just rips that dude into like 9 pieces? That was pretty hardcore, actually.
Or just spearing people. Yeah, he was more of like a wood.
He's real stabby.
Yeah.
He's real stabby. He doesn't
made out of tree branches.
He kills those like 20-somethings just boning in the woods.
Right.
Just kills them.
Yeah, they're desecrating his water.
Just getting
not
warmed
in
up.
my house.
Just warming up, just having a good stretch. It's fucking weird how much of this, like, not much is going on.
Yeah.
But I kind of like all the stupid shit in it. Like, I like the bit where the sheriff goes into the restaurant and he's like, eggs and grits, and those 2 guys come in and start fucking with him. And that other guy's got the dogs, and there's the fucking Native American guy, and then the girl that he arrested the other night. You just got this weird cast, weird cast of characters, and they're all at the fucking bar at breakfast time in this diner. That's hilarious to me. They're all in it in this weird breakfast scene.
It's a small town.
Yeah. Also, they're going a little crazy with the shift tents or whatever you want to call it, filters or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they do in post to be like, oh, this scene, it's like blue, like Ozark, or green, like a movie in the jungle, or because it's in the swamp, or I don't know. They just do all these different colors. It's a little jarring scene to see.
Yeah, some of it is.
What'd you think about what'd you think about some of the, what's a thing you liked or didn't like, Dave?
Those filters definitely stood out. Between the swamp scenes just being so green, then they would go into town and you would expect to have no filter. But no, they would put on like the darkest, like almost orange yellow sepia filter, to where just everything had the same, like it was almost monochromatic at that point because everything was just
everything's
the same
so
tint.
orange.
Yeah. I did like how Man-Thing looked though. I mean, I didn't love how he looked, but it was better than I thought he was going to look.
So fun fact about how he looked is they were like, listen, we're just going to fucking CGI Man-Thing. So just build something about that size and, do it or whatever, and we'll put it in post.
Reference.
Well, they actually made a Man-Thing costume and just got a big son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Just got a big dude to stand in for it, I guess. And, or he's standing on a table or whatever the deal is. You know what I mean? Like a step stool, and they've made it look like he's 7 feet tall or whatever. They started to squeeze the budget at the end of this, like when it was like less than halfway through production. And that was one of the first things that they assumed was going to go. And they were right, because they CGI'd in some tentacles, and they did the eyes, the red eyes.
Yeah, I did not like the eyes.
Other than that, they didn't. Also not crazy about that, or the tentacles.
Yeah.
The little bit of CGI they did, it doesn't look great. Yeah, I mean, that was part of the production of it, was just they acted like they were going to put it in a CGI Man-Thing the whole movie, and then they just didn't.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe some of the CGI looks so rough, is because it's right up against something that's not CGI.
Yeah. Or they just didn't give a fuck.
What else you got on Man-Thing?
On Man-Thing? They got things, and man, I was really surprised to be seeing them titties up in this Marvel movie.
Same, yeah. It's got the Marvel logo up front, like the comic book page flip Marvel logo.
Yeah.
And then just big old titties. Great set.
Good way to start off the film, though. Get you intrigued right off the bat, because it's all downhill from here.
yeah. Suck you in. Suck you in with it. Look, come for the tits, stay for the Man-Thing. You know what I'm saying?
I loved how they just decided to shoot you know, a good chunk of the movie in little canoe boats. They get the first scene coming and let's get these young people banging. Let's put them on a little
tiny
canoe.
boats. There's a bit where a guy gets in a boat on his knees. What are you doing?
How many canoes you been in?
What are you doing? Don't do that.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Little boats.
You ever pee out of a canoe?
I don't think so.
I peed out of a canoe one time
Into another
stood
canoe.
up. I was in the back and I stood up and just peed in the canoe. Pulled my dick out and then peed straight into the canoe facing forward. I was super drunk, but yeah, spent a lot of time in those little boats. It's just like just like riding a bicycle, I presume. So we're man-thinging about it. Here's the part that bothers me. He doesn't burn anybody. The only thing that burns is like this car, but it burns.
It burns for the whole movie.
It burns for like 6-7 hours. It's just an old rusty car on fire. It is weird because they walk through the scene and the car's on fire and you're like, whoa, weird. And then they come back, but it's been several hours and the car's still on fire. I love it. So there's some good silly shit in here. But the part that I'm really digging is just the combination of all of it. I like the fact that all these people are clearly doing an accent wrong. For starters, that's part of it that I'm loving.
Especially to be filmed in a place with heavy accents as it is in Australia.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This is for sure, but like before it got mastered or before they figured it out. As far as the accents go, but the combination of all of this is kind of fun. The CGI and the practical stuff that's like kind of half-ass unfinished, the weird filter choices, some of the like character arcs are super predictable and silly. It's got some charm to it. This thing, I think. In favor of it being a bad movie. In favor of it being like an actual serious movie that you want to sit down and watch, it is garbage. It's absolute garbage. It looks like shit. The story's not anything and the characters aren't anything.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Yeah, no, I thought you were getting at it as like a normal movie. As I'm like, damn, you actually liked it. You digged it, didn't you?
Yeah, I digged it for the wrong reasons.
For what it is.
Yeah, I digged it for what it is, warts and all.
Yep.
All right, Dave, what do you think? What you got anything else on Man Thing?
I need to know what you know. What I did like how they actually gave you more explanation of what Man Thing is.
Oh, his name is Theodore Ted Salus? No.
It sound like that. Salus?
Salus.
And he's a Nexus creature.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
I don't know
that.
about that.
Look,
that's what the Indian guy said.
Here's what the few things that I actually know about Man Thing is his name, Theodore Ted Salus. The fact that he is the result of a failed super soldier experiment.
No, he got buried underneath an oil rig.
No, I'm talking about for real. Not whatever they're doing in this movie. He's just a Jason Voorhees in this movie.
Yeah,
kind of.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, he's just killing everybody. He's killing people for no reason.
Yeah, they don't give him a clear motive.
He's
you
killing...
think it's because of kind of the environment and they're destroying the swamp. No,
he's killing fucking horny teenagers for
just being a grumpy old Shrek
for banging in thigh deep water.
Get out of my swamp.
Right, right. Yeah, he's being a real Shrek. It's an absolute Shrektacular display of how to be a swampy man thing. So tell me, Dave, if you were awarded the brilliant task of making this present day, but making it better from the thing that we just watched, what do you think you'd do, having seen Werewolf by Night?
Well, I mean, I really think I wouldn't go any way towards the Werewolf by Night, like the way that they made that to make this film any better. I would definitely give Man Thing a motive of protecting the swamp or whatever it is.
That's why he needs a buddy.
Instead of him just He's
got kind of a Chewbacca thing going on.
Yeah.
In Werewolf by Night. And then in this, he's just a murdering monster.
Yeah, he's just a murdering.
Yeah, he's just Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers, or he's coming to get you.
Yeah, and I feel like what makes a lot of great movies is having the villain that you can kind of like agree with. So I feel like a lot of people could agree with, don't destroy the environment.
Yeah, and
so
that'd
be an easy way to make Man-Thing even more lovable. So that was a thing that I didn't really like in Werewolf by Night, is how they was able to give Man-Thing the contrast of he could, like, when they would change his eyes and stuff to make him kind of look cute and cuddly, or he could just look fucking terrifying.
Right, exactly. Yeah, when he's doing a big roar, when he's roaring at Elsa Bloodstone and that,
right before,
oh man, that's fucking great.
Like,
in this, he does some roaring in this. Okay, I don't mind the way that Man-Thing sounds, but the rest of the way that the rest of this movie, the way that it sounds, I find to be an assault on my senses. It's real bad, the sound for this whole thing. I won't even say design, because there's no design to it. It feels like it's just thrown together.
Yeah. Especially, you pointed it out at the beginning, and it was super noticeable the whole movie. Just the volume was not consistent at all. Even between, most dialogue was super quiet, but then you'd get some decent dialogue that you could actually hear.
And then you'd get some that you couldn't hear at all.
Yeah, it was almost as if they're whispering, but it's like a aggressive scene to where they should be yelling.
Right, yeah. It's weird in its production like that. So I would probably fix a thing like that. If you were going to do this present day, what kind of recast situation would you do? Here's the catch. You're making a Man-Thing movie. The movie is Man-Thing. And it's got to be kind of the same story. There's maybe a little police corruption with the giant corporation and some hillbillies. There's been some murders in the swamp. What's going on in the swamp? It's Man-Thing. But it's an origin story. So what would you do for that present day?
I feel like you could, you could essentially just keep the story the same. I mean, we're still tapping into the environment for the resources. So just have something that that the land has that you want, or that the big company wants. I feel like there's a lot of movies like that, though.
Yeah. I would make if you were going to do the same thing, carbon copy as far as the story, I would take the love interest, and instead of making her a school teacher, make that be a cover for, tie her into something else. You know what I mean? Like, work that back into, maybe make that Elsa Bloodstone.
You can just add in a whole new family into this movie.
You could do whatever. You could just make her anything else to tie it to anything else. That, obviously, I would change the look of the Man-Thing. And have him burn anybody instead of
at least one person.
Instead of just being way too into tentacle porn. You know what I mean? He's into penetrating people with his weird fucking vine tentacles.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it. He loves poking holes in sons of bitches. I will say one thing that I really was actually quite impressed with in this movie is when they bring in the torso of that guy. Like, a dead man's torso gets tossed on top of the sheriff's car, truck, whatever. Yeah. And he's like, oh my God. He takes it into the corner. In the corner, he's just fucking smoking a cigarette. Right on top of it. That, But that fucking torso prop, that prosthetic, it looked fucking good. I thought it looked good. It just looked like a waterlogged fucking half a corpse that had been brutally fucking torn apart.
I say 05 wasn't really even that long ago. Do people... Well, I guess if you're a mortician, you're probably mostly working by yourself.
Yeah.
So why in the fuck not smoke in there, I guess? They probably still smoke in there.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's like a crime scene.
Right. He's just fucking... He's sterile with gloves on and
just
stuff.
Fucking punching a dart over the top of it, loving it. Oh, man, it's fucking silly shit.
And then he even asked the guy to get the phone. He's like, I got gloves on.
I got gloves on, smoking this cigarette. I'm loving it. Just weird shit, man. I don't know. You'd have to clean up bits of the story. You need a bit of a rewrite with it. I don't know that there's anybody specifically that I would recast for any of it, but I would get people that could do the accent properly.
Maybe just people who didn't have to do accents.
Yeah, I don't even care who they are. Or they could just not have to have accents. It doesn't have to be in South Carolina or wherever this was supposed to have taken place. Oh, one thing that I feel like I would be remiss if we didn't mention. Some of you are probably like, Man-Thing, goddamn, that sounds an awful lot like Swamp Thing. And you're right.
Oh, shit.
Because they were both released the exact same year, and Marvel's Man-Thing was released before Swamp Thing, so Marvel tried to sue DC and lost because both of them are derivatives from a thing from the 40s called the Heap.
The Heap?
The Heap.
I haven't heard of that.
So I'm talking about, baby, the Heap.
So did the Heap get their money?
No.
God damn.
Hell no. It was a comic book in the 40s. So the Man-Thing and Swamp Thing came out in like 1971, maybe 71 or 79. That's right, 71. I'm pretty sure. I think 71. I don't know. Yeah, that's a fun bit, a fun tidbit to have.
A tidbit. Yeah, I never really knew of Man-Thing. I think everything that I kind of knew of was Swamp Thing, from the characters that were similar, you know.
Swamp Thing was much more like prevalent when I was a kid. Like I owned a Swamp Thing comic book. I read one comic book that I borrowed from a friend that had Man-Thing in it. Like he was in that one episode or like one or two episodes of it or whatever. And I read one comic book, so 6 pages of it or whatever. That's it. That's my entirety. And maybe me at that age going, what's up with this guy? And getting a Marvel fucking catalog and fucking looking his ass up. But I don't remember much about him because it's been a really long fucking time. He's a neat character. I'd like to see him get some more airtime, but I guess that's the two things that exist about Man-Thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to get some more.
What, how many Man-Thing thumbs? No, we can't do that. How many oil drum thumbs? Nope. How many flashlights that never run out of batteries?
Never-ending flashlights. Yeah, they actually made it a good point in this movie that since their flashlights never run out of batteries, you don't have to shut them off. So you just leave your flashlights on
all the time,
wherever you want.
Yeah, all the time for hours at a time.
Man, I feel like rating this is pretty tough. Because, I mean, I didn't hate it. It wasn't really entertaining. But
as a bad movie, like knowing it's not good going into it,
yeah.
How much fun did you have with it?
Not much, honestly. I mean, I've seen some titties, so I've spent 2 hours doing worse shit, I guess.
They were pretty far up there, pretty nice.
Yeah, but if I had to give this a good solid rating, I mean, it's not going to be on the super low end, but I'm going to give it a solid 3.8.
3.8.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good?
Yeah.
Wait, on a regular... What'd you say?
Regular That's on movie? A regular scale, yeah.
Oh, give me bad movie. I just want bad movie scale.
Oh, bad movie scale?
Yeah.
3.8 is pretty... 3.8. My scales are universal.
Okay, I gotcha.
The bad movie scale only goes to 5.
No, I actually had a fair amount of fun with this. It dragged a little bit for my taste, but as far as like all the weird shit that's in it, and me being like, like there's stuff to comment on and laugh about, and to be like, what the like knowing anything about. If you don't know jack shit about Man-Thing and you watch this, I bet it's garbage. If you know anything about Man-Thing, it's kind of fun. But I only know things about Man-Thing because I looked it up right before we watched this movie.
Yeah.
So
what you rating it?
I think I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I wasn't hating this. This wasn't a waste of my time. I thought this was pretty fun, but I was kind of in a unique position to enjoy it.
You fucked up. I think you had 3 too many drinks.
3 too many?
3 too many.
I don't think so, Dave.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
I just
find
didn't
out
have
in the
enough.
next segment of the show.
Hey, what you watching?
Which is what you been drinking.
Dave, what you been... What you been drinking?
What you been sipping? These are the cool, refreshing Bush Light apples.
You like those Bush Light apples?
I don't mind sipping on them. Sometimes they're a little
I had one.
acidic for my tummies.
Yeah. No, dude, look, dude, man, I don't even fuck with the tum tum. If I have shit that fucks up my tummy, I'm out, brave. I'm out, baby.
That's that. That's what I've been drinking.
I've just been drinking Miller Lite, and
Gotta stay with it.
I had a mixed drink earlier. So we were watching movies. Had a been a long week. Oh, one thing I do want to talk about for what you watching is I was on a podcast. I was on 2 podcasts actually.
I thought we're on right now.
Recorded. Well, I don't think I recorded in the last 2 weeks. So with this episode being back actually on mic, in the last 2 weeks I've been on 2 other podcasts. I was on the ATI podcast. I did a roundtable discussion for like horror films and shit like that. It was great. Doug Wicker was there, and Barrett Lewis and his co-host Josh. Yep. And Ridge Jackson. Also, I'm not reading these off a list. I'm manually recalling them on my fingertips, just so you know. And Brandon, our whole boy. And yeah, we had a good chat about horror films. So that's, you can get that out there. ATI podcast. That is Alpha Tango Indigo podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever. I was also on an episode of a thing called Rising Tide for The Barn. I'll drop a link for both of those things in the episode description. And we just had a nice, fun chat about podcasting. And we talked a bit about the Netflix Dahmer series.
All right. You check that out?
Yeah. Oh, man, I loved it. And then subsequently watched the Dahmer tapes.
The Dahmer tapes is like the actual documentary, or like the...
Yeah. Well, it's like the tapes series. Like they did the John Wayne Gacy tapes.
Right.
And yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. The Ted Bundy tapes, and the factual timeline information, and the taped interviews and shit like that. So just more of the factual, more accurate timeline, but the Dahmer series on Netflix is a little more kind of dances around the timeline, but it makes for better cinema, I think.
Yeah, it tells a good story. Starting at the end, going to the beginning.
Yeah, and it's disturbing the whole time.
I haven't seen it.
Well, if you check it out, the first 3 episodes, honestly, kind of hard to get through. Not hard to get through because they're boring, but hard to get through because they really grab you by the scruff of the neck and just push your face in the mud.
Yeah, into the nitty gritty of his life.
Yeah, they make you eat that fucking dirt real fast.
Yeah, and I'm not really all about that.
No, same. After that, it definitely levels out. Like the acting is the performances in it are amazing. The production value is like it just looks great. And it'll make you feel uncomfortable. And then when you're done watching it, you'll be a little bit like, I don't know. And that's what it's going for. That's what it's going for, man. But it works.
I guess some people are fucked up. You watch that you've been watching that new She-Hulk? That their Lady Green Girl?
Yeah, I have been watching some She-Hulk. I mean, like, not a ton of it or what. I'm keeping up with it.
You're keeping up with it?
Yeah, the finale comes out this weekend, I think.
Comes out on Thursdays.
Oh shit, it's out now?
And I've watched it.
You watched the finale?
Yep, finale.
How is it?
9, I think? 8?
If you're keeping up with it, then how do you rate it out of Daredevil thumbs? What do you think?
I mean, the episodes are just so short, so it's hard for them to do. Like, the first several episodes I didn't really care for.
I feel like it should have just been a movie.
I feel like it would have been better that way, honestly.
Yeah, same.
But if you can binge it now, if you haven't seen it, I feel like it would be better just binging it. But the last 2 episodes I thought were great. Like it really won over the series for me because I thought it was kind of lackluster and wasn't really going to be, one of the better series.
When they said Daredevil was going to be in She-Hulk, I didn't know that's what they meant. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
So, as far as what I've been watching, I checked out the new Hellraiser. Did you see that?
Oh, no.
Okay, so
they made
it's on Hulu. So, and it is a Hulu film, I believe.
What's that guy's name? What's the bad guy's name? What do they call him?
Pinhead?
Pinhead. I
Yeah.
want to say Spikehead. I'm like, no, that's not right.
This reboot of it, I did really like it. I haven't revisited the original Hellraiser in a really long time. And my recollection of it is it being very, very perverse. And this new one, I didn't get that
at all.
I didn't get that. I don't know. I'm wondering. I liked it a lot. Even Alicia liked it, and I didn't think she was going to be into it. But yeah, no, it was pretty good. I really liked the redesigns. I thought it was a relatively faithful adaptation.
Don't always get that.
No, and that's absolutely true. You for sure do not. Let's see here. What else I got on the list? I watched a movie called Grim Cuddy. Pretty creepy little creature feature. There's a creepy monster. I won't give away the hook, but there's a creepy monster. He's not that creepy until you see him move on screen, and he's got a real awkward skitter that makes him.
I feel like a lot of times that's how a lot of those characters are, kind of like The Grudge.
Works on me every time.
Yeah, it's just kind of a creepy looking person, but it doesn't get the full effect until it is moving, coming to life.
Yeah, I watched The Patient. Been getting into that. I'm really liking it. I want to talk more about it when it's over. About somebody who's seen it. We'll do a brief review on it. But that is a show. I think we were talking about it before this. You haven't seen it, have you?
Correct.
It's worth a watch if you have Hulu. It really, really good. Short episodes. It's got not Michael Scott. What's his name?
Like his real name or another person named Michael? Steve Carell.
It's got Steve Carell.
You should have said his real name.
It's got Steve Carell. And I don't know, another guy that you've seen in other
Michael.
stuff. No, it's not. It's not a Michael. I promise you that.
Oh, Pikel.
Really good stuff. Guy goes to see a therapist, and he's like, "I think I'm a murderer," and then he kidnaps his therapist.
But doesn't kill him.
That's what the show's about.
Oh, damn.
Michael Scott's the therapist. The other guy's the killer or whatever. As far as the other stuff, I started watching a series called The Watcher on Netflix.
Oh.
That's all right, because it's based on a true story. It makes me wonder how much of it is true, but I am curious to finish it. I think I watched 4 episodes.
I don't know if that's... I heard of that for some reason. I don't know if it's getting good reviews or if it was made by somebody popular.
It's pretty fun, man. It's got Naomi Watts and... Oh, man. Hold on.
Watcha.
I gotta look it up.
Is that brand new? Or is that...
I think it's a brand new series on Netflix.
Oh,
It just came out. Bobby Cannavale. That's who I'm thinking of. And Naomi Watts. So what's not to love about that? They buy a house, maybe it's haunted. I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
Maybe all the neighbors are conspirators.
Maybe we can figure it out together?
Yeah, no idea.
I did check out, I think it might be older. I didn't see when the release date, but that film Trick or Treat. Have you seen that one?
I have. It's been a while. I'm gonna watch it with my kid.
I feel like that is a great... I don't know how it's reviewed either, but I feel like that's a great bad movie. I feel like people probably love that movie because Halloween or scary movies usually aren't.
It's very Halloween-y.
That's why it's so good.
It's specific to Halloween.
Right. And that's why I feel like it's so good to get in those Halloween feels. Mm-hmm. It just has everything in it. It's got werewolves, vampires, titties. Psychopaths. Yeah, you got everything you need. That was pretty good. Yeah, I seen they announced that they're doing the second one of that. So I'll be watching that.
You're getting ready to do a Trick or Treat 2?
Trick or Treat 2.
Okay, I'm into it. You been playing anything, Dave?
Playing anything new? Nope, just still playing Pokemon Unite. I haven't really played shit, really. I haven't really played Unite too much.
I've been playing a little bit of Splatoon 3 and a little bit of Turbo Golf Racing like the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
But I feel like I'm ready to move on to another thing. I still like playing competitive games though, so I guess what I really like to do is I want to play one story-based thing while peppering in competitive things.
Yeah.
But I can't. They make it so. Well, if you're gonna play 2 games, you might as well play 5, because then you get the bonus,
the
or
daily rewards.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it as far as what I've been playing. Haven't been getting into much. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Like I said, I was on 2 other podcasts. Their shows will be linked in the episode description if you want to check that out. There should also be a bonus episode of this podcast, either out now or coming out. That is just the shortened audio of that little chit chat. But also check out those other shows. They're great. We already rated it, didn't we? We gave it thumbs and everything.
Yep, we did do that.
Yeah, and we're
then,
wrapping up the show.
Oh wait, what you been watching?
Well, that's all I've been watching. If you, Dave, you got anything else you got anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I think I laid it all out there.
If you want to contact the show,
all right, I do. You got a phone
write
number?
us. It's just2movies@gmail.com, or on any social networks. It's just 2 movies.
All right.
Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. You can get at us anywhere. We're also on Letterboxd if that's a thing you're down with. I haven't posted in a while, but I'm going to update our.
You on that new
library.
social media?
Which
it's so new. I don't even know what the name of it is.
Oh yeah, I am on one like that. I also forgot what it's called.
We're probably talking about the same one then.
Boy, it lasted like a day then. Vouch.
Ooh, oh no, the one I was thinking of was Fauci.
Ooh, TikTok. We're on the TikToks. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Facebook. I mean, just get at us.
So many of them.
Get at us any old where and be like, you don't know man thing from a fucking hole in the ground, and I'll write you back and be like, you're absolutely right. I don't. But what I do know is I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you telling a friend. I appreciate you lying to your friend, telling them that this show is about a thing they'll actually like. If there's anything else, Dave, you got any? Boy, I am pretty sauced, huh?
Maybe a little tossed and sauced over here.
Tossed and sauced.
I'm about to get at it.
My salad tossed and my blood alcohol sauced.
No, I think that's all I got. Anything else from you?
That'll be it. As we say at the end of every episode of It's Just 2 Movies.
Bleep blorp.
You guys aren't going to start sucking each other's dicks, are you?
Let's call that gold talk for a one-eyed Batman.
Can I make a suggestion that doesn't involve violence? Or is this the wrong crowd?
Maybe we should call in a bomb threat to Houston. I think it's free beer night at the Astrodome.
The Jedi, Bob. We don't fight with guns, we fight with our mind.
Cousin businesses are booming.
That is one big pile of shit.
Jog on.
It's Just 2 Movies is a production of Blue Cheese and Bacon Studios and can be found wherever you get your podcasts.
I just wanted to throw out a couple of special thanks for the folks that make this show possible. Big thanks to Brad Sexton for our jams, Lamplighter Production for our artwork, Godsized Growing for some musical guest appearances, and Dave, who's our YouTube editor. We probably wouldn't even be on that platform were it not for him. If you want to check out anything any of these amazing people are working on, all of their links are in the description for this episode. If you want to contact the show, you can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at It's Just 2 Movies. We've got a Facebook page now, so that's on there. You can always leave us a comment on YouTube, or you can email us at itsjust2movies@gmail.com. Okay, yeah, and if you like the show, like, subscribe, leave us a review. That stuff helps tremendously. Some of them can be much better. Like, it's unreal that I don't have a Ron Burgundy. I was born to read the news. Like, nothing. I got nothing. I got no Ron Burgundy